Tonight, a Democracy 2022 campaign special. Michigan's top political seat up for grabs. And both candidates are going head to head. This is the final televised debate between Democrat incumbent Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Republican challenger Tudor Dixon. From Marquette to Monroe, this debate is airing live in every corner of the state. Proudly sponsored by WXYZ in Detroit, WXMI in Grand Rapids, WSYM in Lansing, and Oakland University in Rochester. 1 hour dedicated to getting voters the answers they deserve. This debate starts right now. Good evening, I'm Chuck Stokes, and welcome to this live statewide debate from Oakland University at the Oakland Center, the beautiful campus of Oakland University. It's an absolute pleasure having all of you join us. Candidates, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We know how busy your campaign schedules are, especially just a few days before it's time for people to cast those ballots. I'm also joined this evening and pleased to be joined by two of my favorite journalists, also part of our Scripps Media TV operation here in the state of Michigan. Elle and Doug, please introduce yourselves.
Hello, Michigan. I'm Elle Myers with WSYM, Fox 47 in Lansing.
And I'm Doug Reardon with Fox 17 in Grand Rapids, and as Chuck said, thank you both for being here.
All right, our worst enemy tonight is probably the tick-tock on the clock, so we're going to move as quickly as we can. We have some ground rules that we'll go over with so you understand. The candidates have 90-second opening and closing statements that was negotiated beforehand, and the order of their opening and closing statements were negotiated in a virtual draw a few days ago. The candidates will have 60 seconds to respond to questions from our panelists. They then will have 30-second rebuttals, each one of them, to the question. At that point, we will move on. Elle, you have the very first question to Governor Whitmer.
Governor Whitmer, it seems we have our opening statements still to do. Would you want to go ahead, please?
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right.
We're excited.
Sure, thank you. And I want to thank our moderators and, of course, thank Oakland University for hosting us tonight. I'm a proud Michigander. I've lived here my whole life, and I love this state. I was raised in a bipartisan household where we had different perspectives, but a shared set of values. And that's how I know. When we stay focused on what really matters, it's a lot easier to see we all want the same things. Great jobs and great schools, safe roads and safe communities. As governor, I have worked across the aisle to make sure that we're building a foundation for Michiganders to thrive for generations. Let me tell you what I got done. The biggest investment in K-12 education in Michigan history, tripling literacy coaches, expanding tutors so we can get our kids back on track. 170,000 people in our state are now on a tuition-free path to higher education and skills so they can get better paying jobs. We've secured the future of the auto industry is going to be built in Michigan. We've expanded jobs in life sciences, and we're bringing supply chains home and building chips here in Michigan. That is the future of our economy, and I am fighting like hell to make sure women can make their own decisions about their bodies. Tonight, I think you'll hear a lot of divisive rhetoric and misinformation and a focus on the past from my opponent. I'll try to stay focused on our shared future. I know that we have real opportunity in front of us, but the big question is this. Are we going to go backwards, or are we going to drive together to the future? I say, let's step on the accelerator.
Thank you, Governor. Mrs. Dixon, now your opening statement.
Good evening and thank you. I'm excited to be here tonight. And for those of you who don't know me, I want to introduce myself. I'm a mom of 4 girls. I'm a wife. I'm a cancer survivor, and I'm a worker. I spent many years on the shop floor of a steel foundry. And as a mom, I understand what it's like to have kids locked out of school and try to get them back on track. I also know what it's like to want safe communities where our kids can go out and ride their bikes. I know this because I want the same things for my own children. I'm running for governor because Gretchen Whitmer has taken us on the wrong track. She's pushed a radical, progressive, social agenda, and she hasn't listened to the problems you have every single day. Radical agendas lead to dangerous things to happen in the state. We've lost 82,000 jobs. We see our reading scores have plummeted. Our graduation rates have dropped. Our cities are less safe, and the roads aren't fixed. Misplaced priorities, broken promises, and no plan. That's what my opponent has to offer. But tonight, you have another opportunity. We can make a change. In 14 days, you can change course. In 14 days, you can put Michigan back on the right track. I've traveled the state, and from day one, I've been focused on my family-friendly plan for Michigan. Tonight, I'll share that plan, and I hope to earn your vote on November 8th.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Now we'll get to the questions. Elle, your first question to Governor Whitmer.
All right. So it seems there are some lingering questions about Proposal 3. If it passes in just a few weeks, how will you legislate if portions of that proposal have to work their way through the courts?
Well, let me start with this. Proposal 3 is absolutely necessary to preserve the rights we've had for 49 years under Roe v. Wade. When the Supreme Court decided to upend it and overrule Roe, Michigan was poised to revert back to a 1931 law that makes abortion a felony. No exceptions for rape or incest, throwing doctors and nurses in jail. The only reason it's not in effect right now is because of my lawsuit. We have an opportunity to enshrine Roe into law by supporting ballot initiative 3. Now, the other side will say all sorts of wild-eyed things that are not true. Parental rights and consent will still be effective. We know that regulations will still be in effect. The simple truth is the way to protect women and ensure that future generations have the same rights we've had for 49 years is by adopting Proposal 3, and I will be a yes vote.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're not being honest about what Proposal 3 is. The governor has just been dishonest with you in her very first answer. We know that Proposal 3 does remove parental consent. It also makes it so that you don't have to be a doctor to perform an abortion. But it does align with her agenda. Her past, she's voted against a ban on partial birth abortion. And Proposal 3 allows abortion up to the moment of birth for any reason, including sex selection. There will be no legislating around Proposal 3 because it will be language in the Constitution. So we can't put those protections that we've had in place back in place, that we've had in place for all of these years. So when Governor Whitmer tells you that this is going to be Roe, it's not even close to Roe. It's not codifying Roe in our Constitution. But it would be the most radical abortion law in the entire country. The only place that has something similar are China and North Korea.
Governor Whitmer, you have 30 seconds to rebut if you'd like to.
Absolutely. None of what she just said is true. And here's why you can't trust anything she's saying when it comes to reproductive rights. She's the one that said a 14-year-old child raped by her uncle is a perfect example of someone who should not have reproductive rights and the ability to choose. She went further to say it is healing for a person who's raped to carry that child to term. I couldn't disagree more, and she's proven you cannot trust her on this issue. You want to protect Roe v. Wade rights? Vote yes on 3.
Thank you, Governor. Mrs. Dixon, you have 30 seconds to rebut.
The people will decide what they want to do on abortion rights in the state of Michigan. Abortion rights will be decided by Proposal 3, or it will be decided by a judge. We already know that that's the case in the state of Michigan. The governor has the most radical opinion of abortion. She was asked twice in the last debate if she had any limits on abortion. She refused to answer because she has no limits on abortion. So when she calls me extreme, the truth is that there's no more extreme position than Governor Whitmer's on abortion.
All right.
Doug, your question to Ms. Dixon.
Let's stick with abortion. It's, of course, a very potent issue right now, and you'll appear on the ballot right next to it. Very simple question. We danced around it just a moment ago in both of your answers, but I want to know, in your case, Mrs. Dixon, if Proposal 3 passes or any of these court battles work out in the favor of the governor or any of these groups seeking to codify abortion rights in Michigan, will you accept that as the will of the people?
Absolutely. I've said that from the very beginning. There are no laws that I say I think that I'm more powerful than that. I know the governor has gone around laws before and in fact gone around the Constitution and doesn't believe that the governor is beholden to law or Constitution. But I do not feel that way. Absolutely. If this is what the people want, then I will enforce that.
And of course, conversely, if Proposal 3 fails, if any of these lawsuits don't work out in the favor of yourself or any of these groups seeking, again, to codify abortion rights, will you accept that as the will of the people, Governor?
I will always accept the will of the people. I think you're asking a really interesting question, though. When you say, will you accept the will of the people, I think that is a question that should be posed to Mrs. Dixon. She refuses to accept the outcome of the last election. She has not yet said she will accept the outcome of the next election. So when she says she will accept the will of the people, she is an election denier and does never, ever has said that Joe Biden actually won this last election. Now let's go back to abortion rights. First of all, this isn't about me. This is about all the women and girls in our state. This is about the ability to have bodily autonomy, be treated as a full American citizen. Mrs. Dixon will tell you here that she'll abide by whatever happens with regard to ballot initiative 3. Behind closed doors, she tells her radical special interest groups she will do anything necessary to curtail abortion rights. The governor absolutely matters to this right. My lawsuit's the only reason it's not in effect right now. Will she sign laws abridging that right?
Thank you, Governor. Ms. Dixon, I'd like to give you your 30 seconds, of course, to rebut, but just one thing to throw in. You said you don't support criminalizing abortion. That's exactly what this 1931 law in the books does. So in your rebuttal, I would also like to know if you would make any changes to that.
I would like to comment on Gretchen Whitmer and her demeanor tonight, coming after me, calling me an election denier. We know that this is going to be the way the evening goes, but I'm wondering when she will say that she can't run with Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist anymore, because I would believe that he is also an election denier, since he came out in 2017 and asked for a recount. In fact, he said that the election system in Detroit was, I think the quote is, in complete chaos. So I'm wondering if she's going to say that she can no longer run with an election denier.
Thank you for that. 30 seconds to you, Governor.
That's silly. I'm going to stay focused on fighting to make sure that women in the state still have the ability to make our own decisions about our bodies and our futures. Let's be very clear. The right to have reproductive choice is important for women of all ages from all walks of life. We know that women who go through IVF have to sometimes have selective reduction to increase the odds that they take a baby to term. We know that women who have a partial abortion, partial miscarriage, need an abortion. This will impact us all.
Thank you, Governor. Chuck has your next question.
Thank you. Candidates, we asked over the last week or so Michiganders to send in questions that they would like to ask you themselves. They can't be here, so we're going to be their surrogate, so to speak. Inflation is something that is very much on the mind of Michiganders. Governor, I'll begin with you. This is a question from Mason Spence. The viewer said, with high levels of inflation hurting our pocketbooks, what step would you take with state legislators to help relieve the weight of inflation for Michiganders? And I want to add to that, is this a sign from an average citizen that the Whitmer-Biden economic plan has failed?
So let's talk about inflation. We know that there is global inflation. It is not unique to Michigan. It is not unique to the United States. A governor cannot fix global inflation, but what I can do is put more money in your pockets, and that's exactly what we've done. Working in a bipartisan way with a Republican legislature, we were able to help 150,000 families get free or low-cost daycare, money in the pocket. We were able to expand opportunities to have the state pick up a third of the cost of daycare for working families. And we also have put 170,000 Michiganders on the path to tuition-free skills. That's how we keep money in the pocket. I put our fiscal house in order by paying down debt, and we've gotten our credit rating upgraded, and that's how we can eliminate the retirement tax, triple the earned income tax credit, and pause the sales tax on gas. All proposals I've made that are sitting in front of the legislature.
Mrs. Dixon, it's easy to criticize and point fingers when you're not in power. If you had been in power when all of the things that have happened over the last 4 years have happened, what decisions would you have made that would have helped change what is going on with our economy? And if elected by the people, what is your specific plan to make the economy better?
Well, I've heard several times from Gretchen Whitmer that she'll work with anyone on anything and that she's bipartisan, but she's actually vetoed quite a bit of opportunity to put money back into the pockets of the people. She vetoed a child tax credit. She vetoed 2 opportunities to reduce the income tax. She also vetoed retirement help for retirement income. So when she's had the opportunity to actually do that, she's vetoed it. In fact, even a gas tax holiday came to her and she vetoed that. But we know that part of her policy was to raise the gas tax by 45 cents per gallon. So you'd be paying $5 a gallon for gas right now. This governor has not done anything to help inflation, but I would put money back in your pockets. I would make sure we have that child tax credit. I would make sure that we reduce the income tax, and I would make sure that our seniors who are on a fixed income are not receiving more taxes than they should, and we can put more money back in their pockets.
Governor?
So listen, we'd never raised the gas tax, number one. In fact, we have cut taxes. Number two, the bills Mrs. Dixon refers to were a gimmick. Republicans in Lansing wanted to tell you that they were cutting your taxes, but they didn't even take effect until spring of next year. I don't have time for games, and I don't think you do either. What I would like to know is how Mrs. Dixon plans to balance a budget giving $12 billion away and not shifting costs onto you. That's where I would be most concerned as we think about the cost shift onto people.
Thank you, Governor. Mrs. Dixon.
She can work with anybody, but now the bills from Republicans are a gimmick. In fact, I think she's been on the House floor twice, so maybe she should have gone and tried to negotiate so that she could actually get some of those tax cuts. And I love how she says, just so you know, we never increased the gas tax. Yes, thanks to my lieutenant governor candidate who made sure we did not increase the gas tax. But even though in 2018 she stood on the debate floor and said it was nonsense and ridiculous, the idea of her raising the gas tax to pay for roads, it was one of the first things that she tried to do when she was in office.
All right. Gail, your question to go.
All right, so switching gears a little bit here, people across the state have seen a significant spike in energy costs. Just in the last couple of weeks, our viewers in Lansing with BWL saw a significant increase. So I'm curious, how will you help Michiganders afford utilities this winter? And is there a change in the future of energy? Mrs. Dixon, we'll start with you.
Well, first and foremost, I think it's important to talk about Line 5 because we know that there's a lawsuit out right now that Gretchen Whitmer would like to shut down Line 5 in the state of Michigan. That would be catastrophic and raise our energy costs in a time when exactly what you're saying. We have people that are having trouble heating their homes. And we know that Line 5 provides 65% of the propane in the Upper Peninsula, 55% in the Lower Peninsula, and the jet fuel for the Detroit airport. It's very crucial that we do everything we can to lower costs. Another way to lower energy would have been to pass a gas tax holiday so that people don't have to pay as much on their gas bill when they fill up their car. We need to make sure we do everything possible in the state of Michigan to lower the cost of energy for our people.
Governor Whitmer.
First, let me clarify. There has been no change in Line 5. No change. In fact, the tunnel continues to move forward. All of the permits have been executed, and it's sitting in front of the MPSC and the federal government. I think that's important to note. Secondly, we know that costs have gone up on everything. And that's why building out energy alternatives is really important, to giving you alternatives to help bringing down the cost of energy. And that's why we've really diversified and are continuing to do work in our portfolio. More wind, more solar. Right now, Michigan has the number one state for clean energy jobs in the country because we are focused on building out alternatives, ensuring our energy independence, protecting you from spikes, and protecting our Great Lakes. It's not one or the other. We must do all of it.
Mrs. Dixon, you have 30 seconds to rebut.
We have to be really careful that we don't kneecap our economy with a radical energy agenda. And Line 5 has not been shut down, but that's not because Gretchen Whitmer hasn't tried. In fact, even Joe Biden came out and said, you can't really shut this down. In fact, Justin Trudeau, who I would say is the most radical environmentalist in the entire world, came out and invoked a 1977 treaty telling Gretchen Whitmer she could not shut down Line 5. So the only reason it's not shut down is because other people have stopped her radical energy agenda.
Governor?
Mrs. Dixon wants to do things the way they've always been done, with a look to the past. I want to build lightnings. I want to make sure that we are expanding our energy alternatives in clean energy and being good stewards of our water. We know that climate change is already having a huge impact, whether it's the tornado in Gaylord or the flooding in Midland. I showed up, helped people get through it. But we need to build out clean energy alternatives and be a driving force in the transition in our autos.
Thank you both.
So shortly after we announced this debate, I heard from one of our viewers in Norton Shores. His name's Greg Tierman, and he had a question about the retirement tax, which of course I think a lot of people do. Greg gets his income from an IRA and a 401k that he and his employers contributed to over the years. Governor, entering your first term, you promised to repeal the retirement tax. So, of course, Greg wants to know if you still plan to do that with a potential second term. But he takes it farther. He says that your plan repeals only pensions. Your proposed repeal would cover only pensions. But again, Greg gets his retirement from a 401k. So would it cover all retirees? Would that tax break cover all retirees? What can we tell Greg?
So, Greg, when I was in the legislature, the Republican governor and Republican legislature pushed through the retirement tax. They started taxing people who worked for a living, played by the rules, set aside money, and now are living on fixed incomes. And I said it was wrong then, and it is still wrong. I am trying to repeal the retirement tax. The thing standing in my way is the Republican legislature in Lansing. I have done a lot of work with them, but they are standing in the way of us repealing this. I want to give you relief. You played by the rules. You should be able to reap the rewards of the work that you did over a lifetime and not have this new tax when you're on fixed incomes. So absolutely, I have tried to get the retirement tax repealed. A Republican legislature standing in the way. With a second term and a new legislature, I'm hopeful we can finally get it done.
All right. Ms. Dixon, if you're elected, what's your plan for the retirement tax?
Well, Greg, first of all, I want to note that your exact question about increasing the exemption for retirement income, that actually did go to the governor's desk, and that was another one of her line item vetoes. She had the opportunity to reduce that. She did stand on the debate stage in 2018 and say that that was one of her top priorities, was to eliminate the retirement tax. But as you noted, that would be for public pensions, not all retirees. So I do want you to be assured that I feel it's very important that we make sure that money goes back into the pockets of all retirees in the state of Michigan, especially as we head into a recession. We're already seeing this massive inflation because of the Biden-Whitmer policies. The recession is right at our doorstep, and I want to make sure that we get as much money back to our retirees as possible.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Dixon. And before you rebut, Governor, I will remind you that in your second term, you very well could have a GOP legislature.
You know, I think we'll have a much more reasonable legislature because we just went through redistricting. And I'm hopeful that we will actually get legislators who are representative of the people they serve. But I think it's important to ask a question. Mrs. Dixon has said she will eliminate the retirement tax. How is she going to balance the budget? She has said that she will cut income tax. That's $12 billion out of the budget. How is she going to balance that? She's toyed with the sales tax. Is she going to raise the sales tax by an additional 8 cents? These are questions I think we need answers to.
Ms. Dixon?
I've talked about repealing the income tax over time, a responsible reduction of the income tax and removing it over an 8 to 10 year period. This is not a radical concept. We have 9 states in the nation that already have no income tax. In fact, not only do they have no income tax, but they are thriving economically. And as you bring more people into the state, you have more revenue as a state. If we could look to the future and balance our budget better, the governor has already put an additional almost $20 billion into the budget in the 4 years that she's been
Mrs.
there.
Dixon. Thank you for that answer. Chuck?
All right, thank you very much. We have a couple more questions here on another important topic, education, which everyone says that they're very concerned with. This particular question comes from Anna Wolf. She's in Madison Heights. She wants to know, what will you do to help improve the public schools in Michigan? Also, Ellie Rakenstein of Bloomfield Hills, along the same vein, says, how will you as governor change the education system in the state and keep oversight over the state superintendent and the Michigan Department of Education? If you talk with many of the organizations that are concerned about education, Business Leaders for Michigan and others, they will tell you that we are not a top 10 state yet, and that is one of our goals. We just recently saw that for 4th and 8th grade, that the test scores for reading and math have plunged. How will you make us a top 10 state?
As you noted, we are not a top 10 state. We're not even close. We're actually a bottom 10 state right now. We just got our test scores back for 4th and 8th graders, and we are really doing horribly in reading and math for 4th and 8th graders. This is something that has been a pillar of my campaign, to bring education back in the state of Michigan. Not only do we want to make sure that parents are involved in education, but we want to make sure that our kids are back on track from the pandemic. Most states that had schools out as long as Michigan, which there are very few, so close to as long as the state of Michigan had students out of school, have had comprehensive tutoring programs go into their schools. The governor has talked about literacy coaches going into our schools. I haven't found any schools that have literacy coaches yet, but I want to have a comprehensive 25-hour tutoring program for every student across the state to make sure that they get back on track from the years of online learning that they endured under this governor's policies.
All right. Governor, you've been in office for 4 years now. Harry Truman said the buck stops at your desk. You've had 4 years to try to fix education in this state. Why is it not where you would want it to go, at least 4 years ago, where you said you wanted to go?
We've also had some historic challenges over the last few years, I think, to put it lightly. You know, Mrs. Dixon says that I kept students out longer than any other state. That's just not true. I worked closely with my Republican and Democratic governors, and kids were out for 3 months. The fact of the matter is, education is what levels the playing field for people, and we've underinvested in it for decades. We got the biggest investment in public education done in a bipartisan way to support teachers, to bring down class sizes, to wrap our kids with supports like mental health supports, tutors, and literacy coaches, making class sizes smaller. This is how we improve outcomes. But it's only been a couple years, and we've had a pandemic to navigate. The reason kids were out of school during the pandemic was because we were working off of knowledge from 1918, when kids died from the last global pandemic. As a mom, all I was thinking about was saving the lives of our kids.
Ms. Dixon, you have a rebuttal?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just heard an audible gasp around town when Gretchen Whitmer said that kids were out of school for 3 months. Perhaps she wasn't paying attention to what was actually happening. We even had schools that were closed this year. This is shocking to me that she thinks that schools were only closed for 3 months, or maybe she thinks she can convince you that schools were only closed for 3 months, but you know better because your students are the ones that are desperately behind. And the test scores show that she's being dishonest about this. She's being dishonest about even trying to get into these schools to get these schools back on track.
Governor.
Well, that's just not true. But what I will say is we have made a historic investment, and that's precisely how we laid the groundwork to get to Michigan being a top 10 state for literacy. That is the goal that we all have to get behind. The problem is, if Mrs. Dixon is elected, she and her biggest funder, Betsy DeVos, will be writing the education budget. And their plan is to take $500 million out of our public school system. You want to get kids to top 10 literacy, draining the school aid fund of resources is not going to get us there.
All right. Gail.
All right, thanks, Chuck. So, candidates, we continue to see violence in our schools. Just this week, the alleged Oxford shooter pled guilty. And we've heard talk of hardening our schools. So what does that mean to you, and can you describe what it will look like in practice? Governor Whitmer, we'll start with you.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, as a former prosecutor who ran exercises with our police departments for active shooter, it's horrible to see what happened in Oxford and what plays out in this country every single day. As a mom, I am furious that in this country, and only this country, guns are the #1 killer of our children. I support secure storage. I support red flag laws. I support background checks. When Mrs. Dixon was asked, do you support secure storage, which was what Oxford families were asking for, she said, I don't know what it is. She supports more guns in schools, making them not gun-free zones. Her plans are downright dangerous. In the same month that the Oxford shooting happened, she posted a picture of herself with a gun and the caption saying, gun control means using both hands. She might think this is a joke, but I think there's nothing funny about it.
Thank you, Governor. Mrs. Dixon.
How manipulative to comment on a post that I made 29 days before the shooting even occurred, but that's what we expect when we talk to Gretchen Whitmer, right? Let me be clear about something. What's happening in our schools when we have a school shooting is devastating. I have 4 daughters that are in school-age daughters that I am concerned about every single day. Our state police came out with a safe schools plan in 2018 to harden our schools. You asked what that looks like. I would like to have armed security at our schools. I would like to make sure that we have a one entry point. I would also like to implement some of that plan that talks about how to identify a child that struggles with mental health, that might be considering self-harm or harming someone else. This is something that we just heard the Department of Ed say that they wouldn't even tell parents about, and Gretchen Whitmer has been silent. We need an Office of Safe Schools, like states like Florida have, to make sure that this is a top priority. And if we had implemented the 2018 report from the state police, we might have saved lives.
Governor?
There was a school shooting in Missouri yesterday in a district that had exactly what she just described. One place of entry, armed guards in the school district, and people are dead. We've been trying that for 30 years. It's not working. It is time to try proven policies, background checks, secure storage, red flag laws. I'm not talking about hunting. I'm just trying to keep our kids and communities safe. Ask yourself, who's going to keep your kids safe? The former prosecutor with plans or the candidate with thoughts and prayers?
Mrs. Dixon?
And yet she's been governor for 4 years. In fact, she's been a career politician for 20, and she hasn't seemed to come up with an answer for this yet. Her concern is taking guns away from law-abiding citizens. I want to make sure that our kids are safe. I don't want our kids in a sitting duck zone where the only person that has a weapon is the shooter that is going in to take their lives. I want to make sure we are as safe as possible in the state of Michigan. And as a mom, I think you can rely on me to make sure it happens.
Thank you both. Doug?
All right, let's talk about libraries, if we could, school and public. We've had a lot of efforts across the state, across the nation for that matter, to ban access to certain books, again, at public and school libraries, a lot of them having to do with titles including LGBTQ issues, the Holocaust, et cetera. As governor, how do you make sure that kids have access to that inclusive literature who might be seeking it, while also making sure that parents and teachers feel heard on the issue? And I'll add that this has real life implications. We've had millages fail, and in my hometown of Grand Rapids, we've had libraries say that they are in danger of closing because people are voting against millages based on these issues. So again, I would ask you, Mrs. Dixon, what do you do as governor? How do you handle this?
Yeah, what I've heard from parents across the state is inappropriate content in school libraries. That's the biggest concern that I'm hearing about. And we're talking about sexual content. We're talking about pornography in schools. Parents have risen up across the state. They've asked Gretchen Whitmer to comment, and she's been silent on this issue, so I'm anxious to hear what she has to say. If you have material in your school that is something that you can't read to a child at a bus stop because you would be arrested because it is pornographic, then it should not be in our classrooms. What these parents are talking about are not textbooks that will help children learn about themselves. These are books that are describing to children how to have sex, and parents are outraged about it across the state. I stand with those parents that want to make sure we go back to the basics of reading, writing, and math in our schools.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Governor?
Yes, so let me start with this. As a public school parent, I know that we have rights to understand the curriculum, the materials, to opt our children out if we think that it doesn't keep in line with our desires in terms of what they are learning. Also, parents can attend parent-teacher conferences, take part in the debate that is happening, and these are happening at the local level, where they should be, so that parents can be involved. We also have a duty to make sure that all children feel accepted and safe and can learn and play when they are in school. I reject the false choice that it has to be one or the other. But I'll also tell you this, is with a really heavy heart that I see politicians try to wedge communities against one another. It is dangerous and it is selfish. Mrs. Dixon hosted someone on her show that said Martin Luther King Jr. shouldn't be in our history books. This is what we're talking about. We need to bring down the temperature and solve the problems to make sure parents are involved and students feel comfortable, and we're giving them a robust education.
30 seconds, Mrs. Dixon.
Well, I guess we've received the answer now that she is not going to stand with parents on this issue who are crying out across the state. In fact, I had a gentleman come up to me just a few nights ago, and he said, I found content in my school library describing how to have sex to my son. I went to the Democrats and I said, I cannot believe that this is in there. And they said, you are no longer a part of our party. He said, just a few weeks ago, not only was I a Democrat, but I was running for office as a Democrat. He said, because Democrats won't stand up for our children and go back to the basics, I'm leaving the Democrat Party.
Governor?
Do you really think books are more dangerous than guns? Like, do you really think that books pose a greater danger to our kids than gun violence does? Mrs. Dixon is trying to distract us. She's trying to divert attention from the fact that she's bankrolled by Betsy DeVos. She has endorsed Betsy DeVos's plan to drain $500 million out of our public schools, and that's why she's waging these fights. We have to protect our kids.
Chuck?
Governor, 4 years ago, you won election mainly because of a phrase that you used that said, fix the damn roads. We know that there's construction going on because everywhere we go, we see orange barrels. My question is, are we building better roads, or are we just putting Band-Aids on a cancerous infrastructure?
Well, you know, I love talking about the roads. The reason I focus on the roads is because when you have a busted rim, it can be money out of rent. It can be money out of childcare. And that's why fixing the damn roads has been so important. Let's be clear. We are addressing decades of disinvestment. We've already rebuilt 13,000 lane miles, 900 bridges. There are orange cones and barrels all over the state because we are fixing the roads. The fact of the matter is, this is a huge issue for our economy, our personal safety. It is so crucial that we continue this work, but it's all in jeopardy. As we think about what's Michigan going to look like 4, 8, 12 years down the road, we have to have solid infrastructure. But with plans to cut $12 billion out of the general fund and no plan to replace it, that will set us back in terms of rebuilding infrastructure back to decades of disinvestment. It'll mean money out of public safety and out of our kids' education. We can't afford to have that kind of leadership.
Governor, really very quick follow-up. Yes or no? Are we using better materials?
We are. We're using the right mix and materials. And as you can see, when you're driving by, we're taking the roads all the way down to gravel and rebuilding them. They're built to last. It's not just papering over like, unfortunately, has been done for years in the state prior to me taking office.
All right. Mrs. Dixon, if elected the next governor of this state, will you continue what we see going on with the construction of our roads, or will you change the process in any way, shape, or form?
We will work to make sure that there actually is a plan for the roads. She stood on the debate stage 4 years ago and said she had a plan, but let's remember, there was no plan. The plan was to raise the gas tax by 45 cents a gallon, and you would be paying $5 a gallon for gas right now. That obviously didn't work. And then when she was given road funding by the legislature because she didn't get her gas tax increase, she vetoed it. She had a lot of vetoes at that time, also vetoed autism funding for families. This was a tantrum because she didn't get her road funding. We want to make sure that it is a priority. And think about this. If it were a priority back then when she stood on this debate stage, in the 4 years that the budget increased by nearly $20 billion, you would have thought that she would be able to find road funding in that time to actually fix the roads instead of just throwing a bunch of orange barrels out before the next election.
Governor, your rebuttal.
So listen, I'm not even going to respond to all of that. I'm going to tell you this. We are going to continue to fix the damn roads, rebuilding this state. What's up next is Miller Road Bridge. What's up next is Mound Road, 696, 275. These are important arteries in this part of the state that you will see work being done. We need to continue this. It doesn't end. Unfortunately, we have to continue to rebuild infrastructure, but we're making headway, and we got to put our foot on the gas.
Ms. Dixon.
People are wondering when the road from their house to work will be fixed. When will that be a priority? Because it's absolutely true that a broken rim is devastating. I know because I had one this year. In fact, I've had 5 flat tires on these roads. They are a total disaster. And they're costing the people of Michigan $5,000 a year in road repairs. So if this is how she fixes the roads, well, I guess we can look back at her other promises too. What were they? Transparency, clean water, fixing the roads? Failures.
Yeah.
All right. In this same infrastructure vein, starting with you, Mrs. Dixon, I'm curious, how will you improve internet infrastructure and access, especially up in the UP? I hope to hear a concrete plan.
Yeah, it's critical for us to work with our private sector to expand these projects across the state of Michigan. And in fact, once we do that, we will see the economic development that we so desperately need. Right now, not only are our children suffering because we don't have broadband, especially during a time when they were kept at home for online learning, which is why so many of our kids are so far behind, but even our farmers are suffering because they don't have access to broadband. So I will partner with our broadband companies and talk to them about how they can expand. In fact, one of the great things about the tunnel that will be built for Line 5 is that we can also run broadband access through that tunnel and make sure that we can expand our access into the Upper Peninsula. And I will make sure to take advantage of that tunnel that will be gifted to the state of Michigan.
Governor?
I got to tell you, I am so grateful that the Chamber of Commerce for Northern Michigan has endorsed my candidacy. This is because we've been working closely to make sure that we created an Office of Rural Development. We created an office specifically about increasing broadband access. 23,000 homes have already been added online. Now, what we can't afford is someone who's going to take political pot shots instead of roll up their sleeves and solve problems. When the Infrastructure and Jobs Act passed, Mrs. Dixon called it fake. She snubbed her nose at it because she doesn't like the guy in the White House. We need a governor who's not going to score political points, but roll up their sleeves and get things done. $10 billion is coming into Michigan. We are going to deploy those resources to make sure that we get everyone connected. We're making progress, and there's more good work to do, but we got to continue the work and not play political games. I will fight for every dime to come into the state of Michigan so I can make your life better.
Mrs. Dixon?
You should be careful of where all of your dimes go if Gretchen Whitmer is in charge, because she just offered $715 million of your taxpayer dollars to a Chinese corporation to come to the state of Michigan. So she can tell you all she wants that she is improving economic development and keeping automotive jobs here. But we're hearing that battery plants are going outside of Michigan unless they're owned by the Chinese and have strong ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Your taxpayer dollars are not safe with Gretchen Whitmer.
Governor?
There was a lot to take in on that one. I'll say this. We are making historic progress when it comes to economic development. Whether it's Goshen that is changing Big Rapids and building long-range batteries, or Our Next Energy, or Magna that we announced today. Mrs. Dixon has worked against economic development incentives that I worked in a bipartisan way to get done. If she was governor, none of those projects would be happening. We cannot unilaterally disarm and think we're going to build an economy of the future. We have to run fast and win.
Thank you both. Doug?
You know, we got another question that we got quite a bit of submissions on was on no-fault auto insurance. People like Maureen Howell, whose son was involved in a catastrophic crash, wanted to know what exactly would be done to help these 18,000 survivors, Governor. Of course, you know, those benefits were taken away during your administration. So how do we provide access to care for these folks?
So let me start with this. Michigan has had historically the highest insurance rates in the country. I worked with the Republicans in the legislature to give Michigan residents some choices, give consumers the ability to pick what level of insurance they want, like happens in other states. Now, people can make that choice, and we've seen rates come down, and we also know that this has helped drivers drive insured where people weren't buying the insurance previously. There also is a group of people who have been injured, especially those pre this law, who we need to ensure get the care they contracted for at the rate so that they can actually get those services. There's been a lawsuit. We know that this case is still in front of the court, but I've been trying to reach out to the legislature to help make sure that we address those rates and ensure that rates are being paid on time.
And Mrs. Dixon, if you are elected, these folks would be looking to you for this help. What would you do?
I agree that we had insurance rates that were way too high, and that we had people in Detroit that couldn't even get insurance for their car, and they were paying thousands of dollars just to drive every month. That was devastating. Sometimes legislation has unintended consequences. We've seen that with this legislation. In fact, the governor knew that there was going to be a lawsuit when she decided to give away the catastrophic injury fund and give $400 checks back to everybody in Michigan, even though these people were desperate to find out how they would continue to get care. Now that the lawsuit has gone through, you're going to get a bill for $48 because she gave you those checks just a little too soon. And we have to make sure we take care of those people who had that contract to make sure their lives are the same quality as they were before.
Governor?
Mrs. Dixon is showing you how ill-prepared she is for this job. The governor doesn't decide for the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association what the checks are going to be.
Mrs. Dixon?
I'm glad she admitted that because her commercials are constantly saying that she gave $400 checks back to everyone. So I'm glad she's admitting that those checks didn't come from her and she actually isn't putting money back into the pockets of the Michigan people.
All right, thank you both.
Okay. Mrs. Dixon, next question goes to you. I'm going to try to take this in a slightly different direction, and perhaps you might not need rebuttals on this. In the interest of civility, and certainly something that Governor Milligan, the longest serving governor of this state, talked about, I want to ask you to encourage the best and the brightest to enter the field of public service. What can you say positive about your opponent and the political party that she represents?
My opponent always talks about her daughters. And as a mom of girls, I think that's so important to come out and encourage your daughters and love your daughters. She has also made sure she's fought for women, and I love that about her. I think that we can continue that tradition and make sure we take care of women and make sure women are protected in the state. It's so important.
All right. Governor, same question.
I would have said something very similar, actually. I know how hard it is to run for office and to raise kids. And so my hat's off to anyone who's willing to do it. I think moms' voices are important. We obviously have very different perspectives. All moms are not the same. But I appreciate how difficult it is and applaud any woman who is willing to put herself out there, at the same time balance all of the different pressures that we working moms have.
All right. Would you like a rebuttal? I didn't think so. All right. Elle?
All right, changing gears a little bit. So we had one epidemic that was sort of eclipsed by the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm curious how you'll address the opioid crisis here in Michigan. So starting with Governor Whitmer, how can you address the influx of fentanyl with the ongoing opioid crisis here in our state?
Well, let me start with this. You know, I often talk about my own mother, who died of brain cancer right after my first daughter was born. I was in that sandwich generation where I was taking care of two different generations of my family. And I know how hard that was. And that's why I've worked so hard to expand access to health care. I worked with my predecessor, Rick Snyder. When I was in the Senate, we got Medicaid expansion done. And today, 1 million more people have health care because of that work. There is no question that we have got an opioid crisis in this country. It was a greedy pharmaceutical company that buffaloed the people of this country and has created a lot of addicts. That's why the resources that we are putting into addiction treatment, the resources that we are putting into ensuring more people have access to health care is so incredibly important. This is a space where we've got more good work to do, but we are making progress.
Mrs. Dixon?
Well, we've seen a massive increase in overdoses. 2021 was the highest number we've ever seen. And we can directly correlate this to the Whitmer-Biden policies of having an open border. We know that drugs are pouring across our border every day. We've seen overdoses rise since this administration took office. It's been devastating, and that's why I've presented my Safe State plan to put $1 billion new into policing, to make sure we have enough police on the streets. I just went to the Oakland County Crime Lab the other day. The woman there was testing two giant blocks of cocaine, and then she pulled out one of fentanyl. I said, "Where did that come from?" And she told me it had come from just down the street in Pontiac at a house. I asked her how many people that fentanyl could kill, and she said millions. If we had more officers on the streets, we could be preventing a lot more overdose deaths. I want to make sure that we have the backs of our cops, and we invest in our cops, and we make sure they have what they need to fight this horrible scourge on our country.
Governor Whitmer, if you'd like a rebuttal, I'm also curious if you'd expand things like access to Narcan or anything else to address the problem tomorrow.
Absolutely. So I think one of the big things that we haven't yet talked about but need to is about crime. We know that our police put their lives on the line every single day. I, as governor, have made too many phone calls, attended too many funerals, and that's why I have delivered over $1 billion more for law enforcement in Michigan, to recruit, to train, to make sure they've got the wraparound support so that they can do their job. It is a hard job. But this is, I think, one of the most important things that we haven't really yet talked about.
Thank you, Governor. Mrs. Dixon, Narcan?
Narcan is obviously very important. And we have seen that we have our Walmart pharmacies that distribute it a few times a year, and it's also our police officers have it around the state. But I think it's very important to note that it's not just about going out and having cops on the street. It's also about taking care of our corrections officers and making sure that when someone commits a crime, that we get those drug dealers off the streets and they can't commit more crimes and cause more death in the state of Michigan.
Thank you both.
So this is our last question. I have to read it very quickly. Last week, the CDC recommended adding COVID-19 vaccines to the recommended immunization schedule for both children and adults next year. Got to be very adamant about this. This is not a mandate. This was a recommendation. This happens every single year. So as governor of Michigan, do you take them up on that recommendation and make sure that the COVID-19 vaccination be required for school attendance, Mrs. Dixon?
Yeah, I want to be very clear about this. This is a parent's decision. There will never be a mandate for the COVID-19 vaccine for children to go to school in a Dixon administration. I'm anxious to hear what Gretchen Whitmer has to say because she was forcing the vaccine on people. You remember her program, Vax to Normal? You could only get your liberties and freedoms back if you got your neighbor vaccinated. She will likely push this on your children. I want you to know that I will never push the COVID-19 vaccine on your children. That is your choice, and it will always be your choice as long as I am your governor.
Governor Whitmer?
No, I do not support requiring the COVID vaccine for children. But let's talk about COVID. It hit our state hard. It hit this community incredibly hard. We had hospitals that were full. We had morgues that were full. We had refrigerated trucks outside of hospitals because we didn't even have enough masks for our doctors and didn't have a place to put deceased people. We made quick decisions to save lives, and studies show we saved thousands. I am proud of that. But while I was getting death threats, saving lives during COVID, my opponent was sowing conspiracy theories. She was saying that kids couldn't get impacted, no need for masks. She even said vaccines carried the mark of the beast and government trackers. It's that kind of foolishness that actually endangers people. If she had been governor during COVID, thousands more people would have died.
Mrs. Dixon?
If that were at all true, why would I have gotten the vaccine myself? The governor is being dishonest once again, but that's what you do when you don't have policies to run on, when you killed more seniors than almost any other state, when you were told to stop the policy, but you kept it going, when you had such extreme unemployment fraud that you lost $8.5 billion worth of taxpayer money. She crushed our economy. 3,000 businesses, 3,000 restaurants died under Gretchen Whitmer and never came back. She kept our kids out of school.
Mrs. Dixon, I'm sorry, I have to keep us on time. Thank you. One more rebuttal from you, Governor.
I think you know what our priorities are. Hers would have been the bottom line. Mine were children. Mine were seniors. Mine was protecting people. As soon as vaccines became available, I deployed the Michigan National Guard to work with our nursing homes to make sure that if seniors wanted the vaccine, that they got it. And COVID rates plummeted. Had she been governor during that same time, thousands more nursing home residents would have passed away.
Thank you both.
Thank you, Doc. Candidates, it's now time for your closing statements. We promised you beforehand that we would reserve 90 seconds each for you all to be able to do that. According to the agreement and the draw that we had before, Governor Whitmer, you go first, and Mrs. Dixon, you get the final word.
Well, that was fast, and thank you for participating. As I think about the next 4 years and our future, I can't help but think of my own kids and all the young people in their generation. They're going to be making decisions about where to build their lives, and I sure hope it's in Michigan. In a second term, I will stay focused on building a Michigan where every person can get a good paying job with a secure retirement, send their kids to great schools with great teachers, know that they're going to be safe in their community, free from discrimination and hate, and make their own decisions about their bodies. This is an important election. My opponent has shown tonight that she's more interested in dividing us, halting our progress, and dragging us backwards. When she's not scripted and on stage, she stokes violence, spreads conspiracy theories, even attacks working women and teachers. We need to come together and solve problems. As governor for 4 more years, I hope to have the opportunity to continue this service, and I will always put your interests first. I want to thank all the Republicans and independents who have supported me. I want to thank all the police organizations and business groups that have endorsed me, and of course, my longtime supporters. I say let's continue to move our state forward, build a brighter future for future generations. This is a great state, and our future is bright. Asking for your vote.
Mrs. Dixon, your closing statement.
Like many of you, I had children out of school for several years. Like many of you, I had a small business crushed, and like many of you, I lost a loved one. Gretchen Whitmer doesn't want to be defined by her carelessness, her dishonesty, or her hypocrisy during that time. But even if we didn't look at that, we would look at her governorship as a disappointment. Her radical policies have crushed the state. Her choices have been destructive. But don't worry, there is another choice. Michigan, you're not better off now than you were 4 years ago. In fact, we're in the top 10 for crime in the nation. We're in the bottom 10 for reading and math in the nation. We lost 82,000 jobs, and we lost more small businesses than any other state. Gretchen Whitmer will stand on the stage tonight and tell you that's success. But you've all felt the pain of her failure, and you deserve better. If you choose me as your governor, I will put cops over criminals. I will put parents over politics. I will put students over systems. And I will make sure that we put money back into your pocket and we do a better job with the money that we have. I'll bring back common sense, and I will make sure that we have better schools, more jobs, safer communities, and reliable roads. I want to be your governor, and I want to bring back a family-friendly Michigan. I ask for your vote on November 8th, and I promise to serve you well. God bless you.
Governor, Mrs. Dixon, thank you so much for coming in, for engaging in not one, but 2 statewide debates, the last one being today, and facing the voters. This is very important before they go in and make their final decisions on Election Day. We also want to thank our partners at Oakland University for being wonderful hosts here and all that we've put them through. They've been good sport, and we appreciate it. And I want to thank my fellow panelists, Elle and Doug. Thank you so much from Grand Rapids and the city of Lansing in the middle of our state. And we want to thank all of you at home for joining us. Don't forget to vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November the 8th. The polls are open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. I'm Chuck Stokes. Have a good evening.